Hey guys, what's up? It's PkmariO, and a little while back I did this video about how to record gameplay footage from old video game consoles onto VHS, a format that was very common around the time that a lot of those games came out. And last time I was actually using a tape that had previously been used quite a bit, I actually, prior to using this Sony VHS for gameplay, I used it for Phineas and Ferb episodes, and then I'd watch it at a relative's house, because normally the channels wouldn't be consistent, so I wouldn't know what channels had the cartoons that I would want to watch, so I would record it onto VHS, and oftentimes they'd have a VCR, so I'd just watch my cartoons that way. And you know, the picture quality is decent. You can't really expect to get 4K picture from a VHS tape, but it's not as bad as you might think. From what I can tell, the gameplay footage, the game looks just slightly less vibrant in terms of the colors than it does when you're actually playing the game. But then I thought to myself, seeing as how I've used this VHS quite a bit, and there's some stretch marks on the tape, you know, I've had it for a while, I decided to get some brand new VHS tapes, just so that way I could see if the quality would improve. I also wanted to see if there was different brands that I could check out to see if the quality would be any different. Now, I got these at a flea market. There's actually several places at this one flea market, which is in the basement of Dixie Value Mall, or Dixie Outlet Mall. I can't remember what it's called, but it's in Brampton, Ontario, if you guys live near there and you want to go check it out. But there's a couple of places there that sell VHS tapes, specifically blank VHS tapes. There's one place that sells 10 of them for $19, and normally on eBay, good name brand VHS tapes, such as Maxell, the ones that I have here, typically those go for $10 a piece. So because these VHS tapes were going for $1.90 a piece, and they were all just shrink wrapped together, no box or anything, I didn't get those. Instead, what I got was these 4 Maxell VHS tapes. $15 Canadian, so it's probably $12 American or something. I don't know, the exchange. But anyway, I wanted to use specifically Maxell because, well, they make really good audio cassette tapes. Easily, these are the best audio cassettes that you can find, and on top of that, they're also extremely common. So I was hoping that these VHS tapes could be the same. And you know what? They're pretty good, actually. The picture quality, like I said, you can't really expect too much from a VHS tape. You're never going to get 4K HD quality images off of a VHS, but it's pretty decent to say the least. If there's one thing that I have to give these Maxell tapes in particular credit for, it's that they have really good sound quality, which, I mean, doesn't surprise me considering that their audio cassettes have good sound quality. But anyway, I'm pretty sure you guys are just dying to see me put one of these in here. And you know what? I'm actually going to do you a favor. I'm not just going to put in one of these, I'm going to do all 4 of them. So as you may have been able to tell, I've used all 4 of them. 2 of them are Nintendo 64 games, 2 of them are NES games. we have Kirby's Adventure, best game on the NES. Yoshi's Cookie, it's a game that I'm good at, second best game on the NES. Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo 64. I'd argue that it's the best game in the series, but I know that I would probably get destroyed because Melee and lots of people like that. And finally, Yoshi's Story. Very underrated Nintendo 64 game. So I'm going to start off with the NES gameplay recording footage. And which one should I start off with? You know what? Seeing as how the Yoshi's Cookie VHS was the first one that I recorded, let's try this one. Oh, and just another word of advice. If you're going to apply a label onto one of these VHS tapes, make sure that before you apply the label, just take a Q-tip, some rubbing alcohol, and just rub there. I find that for some reason they stick better. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see that, but the label's kind of peeling. Anyway, let's just pop this sucker into the VCR. Apologies for the awkward camera work. Play. So, I mean, I'm not sure if you can really tell with my potato quality iPad camera, but it looks pretty good. The colors aren't quite as vibrant as they would be if I were actually playing Yoshi's Cookie, which is right there. But you know, it looks pretty decent for a VHS. Now, I'm pretty sure that this has more to do with the tape head not quite being in line with the tape, but you can see that it's a bit more to the right than it is to the left. Not really too much to complain about there, but like I said, potato quality camera, you probably can't really tell a difference between this and what it would look like if I were to just normally film Yoshi's Cookie gameplay. So let's move on to the next game. Alright. So the next game the next video of a game that I recorded that I'm gonna be putting in here is Kirby's Adventure. I actually managed to beat the final boss for only the second time, and I got it on this VHS. Because, well, the second phase, sorry for spoilers, but the second phase of Dark Matter isn't really too difficult, but the first one is hard. So as you can see, once again, there's a lot of empty space over here, not as much over here, and I think it's more apparent with this VHS tape because it's white. But once again, I'm pretty sure you guys wouldn't be able to tell this apart from just a standard recording of this game. Not sure if that really says much about the quality of the tape or the quality of my iPad camera. So let's move on, but first, just a word of advice. Never pause a VHS tape. Just don't. Your Uncle PK knows best. Okay. Let's move on. I'll just put this back. Yeah, I know. The last thing you want is to pull this out and hear the tape just ripping straight out of the cassette. Just gonna throw it in there. Let's see. Should I do this in order of release or you know what, it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna do it in order of when I recorded. So let's pop in Super Smash Bros. 64. Now we're stepping up to 64 bits. Okay, that was a bit of a harsh push it in there. Let's see how this looks. Okay, here we go. So, actually, the Nintendo 64 gameplay footage looks even better on VHS tape than NES gameplay footage does. Like, I'm serious, this almost looks like the actual game. So if anything, if you're gonna record any gameplay footage onto a VHS, do the Nintendo 64. This opening cutscene in particular looks really good on this VHS. Like, I don't really see any imperfections. You could almost fool someone into believing that this is the actual game and not just some VHS recording. Like, it's really impressive. Sometimes it's really impressive what you can do with old technology. But I'm gonna move on. Actually, I'm just gonna fast forward to show a bit of gameplay. And always remember, before you fast forward or rewind a VHS tape, make sure to stop it first, unless you want your tape to be eaten. Alright. Once again, not really much to complain about. I mean, yeah, you can kind of see that it's not quite coming from the actual game. Like, I'm not sure if you could tell, but there's a bit of that moving stuff on the screen that you normally wouldn't see in the game, and then occasionally little bits of black line appear. But I'm running out of time, so gotta show you the last game. So let's just take this sucker out. Okay. Now the last game, Yoshi's Story. This one is my most recent recording onto a VHS, and this one, as well as the Kirby's Adventure VHS, those two I used the rubbing alcohol with, so as you can see I didn't need any scotch tape to help them stick. It'll appear in a second. Nintendo. And once again, as I already said before, Nintendo 64 gameplay footage looks really good on the VHS. Almost as good as the actual game, which is surprising because you think that if an NES game looks bad on a VHS, or not very good on a VHS, then a Nintendo 64 game would probably look even worse. But no, this actually looks pretty good. So overall, what do I think of these Maxell VHS tapes? Well, you know, I think they're pretty good. Like, you can't really expect 4K HD from a VHS, but at the same time, these are half-decent quality. And I mean, hey, if you can't afford a capture card, I got these for a pretty good deal of 4 for $15. You just gotta go looking in the right places if you want to find VHS tapes for a good deal. Or, you know, you could always just record over one that was already recorded, but I wouldn't quite recommend that. But yeah, Maxell VHS tapes, if you want to record your gameplay footage on VHS for whatever reason, Maxell is a brand that I would recommend. So yeah, anyway, that's gonna be all for this video. PkmariO signing out. Jesus, I haven't said anything like that in ages.